And I think this is a potential huge piece of the puzzle. And I'm almost reluctant to say it because I kind of want to keep it to myself. But in the interest of research and not being greedy, I'm going to tell you guys, and you make what you will of it. G'day everyone, and welcome to Paranormal and Cryptid Adventures. I'm cutting straight to the chase with this one today. This is a bit down the rabbit hole. We have some really interesting, and as far as I'm aware, never really shared information today that could shine a light on the whole Yowie phenomena. It should be a really interesting video, so don't go anywhere. Let's cut to the intro. So thank you for putting your time aside to watch this video today. It's going to be something that won't sit well with some people, and other people will love it. But I'm not doing my job if I don't share this info with you. So straight off the bat, let me explain to you the situation. First of all, the information shared in this video is speculative. There's no facts, there's no evidence. The whole method used to get this information, many people are going to question it. I don't question it. I think certain people are born with gifts, and certain people choose to utilize those gifts and other people don't. The source of this information is from one of those people that I consider has a gift. Now, a lot of this information that I got out of this session is going to inform some of my thinking for the future of this channel. So if you want to know what's going on back here for me with this channel, a lot of it, not all of what I'm thinking, but a lot of it is informed by this conversation. Some of it is informed by indigenous dreaming stories and indigenous knowledge. Other bits of it is informed by research and things you hear and read on the internet and see on the internet. But this is definitely informing some of my background to this whole Yowie phenomenon and how I'm going to approach it. All right, straight off the bat, that thumbnail may have been a little misleading. Apologies for that. I couldn't think of a better way to write a heading. Let's make something clear. Yowies have been communicated with. In this video, I'm going to tell you about a communication that has been had with a Yowie. Now, your extent of belief in this entire system will depend on your perspective on the sort of communication that I'm going to talk about. I'm telling you now, I didn't sit down and have a cup of tea with a Yowie and have a nice civil conversation. Obviously, that didn't happen. Okay, so I have a friend of mine. Her name is Fifi. She's a frequency energy healer, a Reiki practitioner. Sorry, mosquitoes everywhere. She's a clairvoyant, and she's had a gift for pretty much all her life that she can remember, that she can energetically connect to animals. Now, what does that mean for us in day-to-day terms? It means that she can basically communicate with animals. A lot of you are calling rubbish straight away on that, and I understand and I respect your opinion. But if I'm to promote Fifi just a little bit here and explain her perspective, she doesn't see it as a gift. You know, like lots of people with these gifts, it can sometimes be a burden. She doesn't proclaim to be anything special. She uses the gift that she's been given, and she tries to help people in the best way that she can. So she will communicate with animals that are unwell or unhappy and determine reasons for it. She has communicated with animals to guide them home when they've been lost. She's communicated with animals that have crossed over and passed away. And I've personally can vouch for her. Now, that's not going to convince anyone that clicked on this video hoping to see me sit down and have a yarn with a Yowie. The way it went down is I contacted Fifi just out of sheer curiosity to see if she'd be able to have a communication, a connection with a Yowie. I told her, look, the things might not even be real, they might not be in my area, but if they are real, and they are in my area, then I think her gift could be used to great effect. So I said, look, what would be the odds that you could try connecting with this thing and let's see what happens? She said she didn't know, she can't promise anything, she'll suss it out. I said, sweet. So long story short, she attempted communication and successfully connected with some kind of energy there. And she said, I gave her maps of the area, I gave her my location, I gave her images of my base camp in case, because I don't know how this works. I don't know whether she needs to have a reference image to connect the dots or something. I don't know. So I gave her all this stuff and I told her to do her best shot. If she can't communicate or connect, then she can't, and that's fine. So anyway, she messaged me and she said, Craig, I was able to connect, and this is a very dynamic process. So I was actually able to communicate with her in real time while she was doing this connection. And that allowed me to ask questions that she could then pass on to the subject. The subject in this case was a speculative Yowie that lives in the Wadigans area. The problem with this video is I feel the disbelief and I feel the judgment coming at me, because as I say, this is way down the rabbit hole. Way down the rabbit hole. People used to say to me, don't get stuck down the rabbit hole of Yowies, but this is not just down the rabbit hole, this is set up residents in the rabbit hole and it's cooking everyone pizzas. This is down the rabbit hole stuff. So I'm aware of that. Fifi's aware of that, everyone's aware of that, and I'm not trying to convince anyone that this is real or not, but I hope that the information will speak for itself. So she said, all right, I'm in contact, you know, here's what I've done and here's the communication. Now, I don't know any other way to do this than I've got on my phone, because there's a lot here, bullet points of the information, the communication that she was able to have with this Yowie. Now, if you believe in the basics of energy, then this shouldn't be too far-fetched for you. Science would tell you that we are nothing but energy condensed down into matter. That's all we are. We think we're this and we're that, but we're just energy vibrating at a certain frequency. And if that is to be held as true, which it has to be, then everything in nature is just energy. And therefore we don't have to think about the third dimensional barriers that separate us in day-to-day life. If we can tap into energy, energy is timeless, energy is infinite, it cannot be destroyed. So this is the level that we're communicating on. She's connecting energetically with these things. Now the first thing she said is, I connected with this thing and I asked him if he's real or not, because I informed her that there's not, we don't know if these things are flesh and blood or paranormal. She said the image that she was given immediately was him, she referred to as him, standing next to a tree. Now in her world, she interpreted that as real. Trees are real, so he was showing I am of this world. Now that could mean that they are at one with the trees and they are at one with nature. They can, who knows what that really means. I'm just presenting the information and maybe giving some analysis on the way. And then she was shown a cave. Now we've later realized that this cave was communicated to her to be his home. That he lives in a cave. The cave was positioned overlooking the sea. She said it was a beautiful view, high up in a cliff in an area inaccessible to humans, and that it was overlooking the ocean. Now if you look at the general area where I told her to communicate, it was the Wadigans National Park. And not too, I mean that's on basically on the central coast, and not too far from there is areas like Woy and all these kind of areas where there is Yowie sightings, there is beaches and there is cliffs. So I found that really interesting. He even showed her how he enters and exits the cave and why it's inaccessible to humans, but she couldn't quite explain that to me other than saying that, which is totally fine. Then she said, and I quote her, he feels Neanderthal. So there's the whole Gigantopithecus, Australopithecus, Neanderthal. There's that whole debate, discussion, concept that that's what these Yowies are. Her words were, feels Neanderthal. Now I don't know if that's just her opinion or if that's based on something more like spiritual and energetic, but she believes more of a Neanderthal kind of connection. Now if you see me looking down, it's because I've got all the notes written on here and there's quite a lot. So I'm not, you know, reading a script or anything. She asked him if he needed to know anything. Just a general open question to commence communication. He showed her destroying the planet and he wanted to know why humans do this. She responded that some humans are just sick in the head, and to this he responded with some a high degree of curiosity. So if we can read into this, automatically I start thinking that these guys are not aggressive. These guys are sick of humans destroying their home, destroying, if you look at Indigenous people, especially Indigenous Australians, their land is their church, their home, their everything. Now, if there's even a remote connection here, which some of you will know there already is, then that's really interesting, because what if they share that dreaming, that dreamtime perspective of that inextricable connection to the land? They see us humans coming in and destroying the land. They automatically have a dislike to us because of that. So then when they see us, they act aggressively and they want to defend their turf and they drive us away. Now, I don't know. There's those 411 cases with people going missing, but there's no reported case of someone being directly attacked by a Yowie. It's more people are just shoot out of areas. I personally don't believe these things are hostile, and one day I may come to eat those words, but I don't. And it's little bits of information like this that make me think it. There's so many bits of information that when you put them together to form a picture, I don't believe these things are necessarily automatically aggressive. So if they see us destroying their homes, do you blame them for therefore acting in an aggressive manner towards us when they see us, even if that's not their true nature? I mean, it makes sense to me. It makes sense to me. Now, the next piece of information, she had told him at the start of the communication who I am, where I camp, that I'm safe and that I'm friendly. I asked her to do that because if this can give me any benefit as regards to getting that initial communication, that contact, that interaction, then I want them to know that I'm curious in that I'm curious in interacting with them, that I'm curious in building a relationship, and that I'm curious, that I want them to know that I'm safe, that I can be trusted. So she told him that. Now, after this comment about some people being the sick of the head, the next thing that she got was that he asked if I had a family. Really weird, right? Now she said yes, he has 2 kids, he's a father, he's a good father, he's a good husband. Okay, so she told him that, and then that moved on from that little piece. I asked her to ask them if they have any writing or language. We all know from my channel, if you don't know, go check out my very first Yowie video. It's in the playlist on this channel, or it's on Bushcraft and Camping Adventures, my other channel. There is another video, the thumbnail says Yowie Wowie. And you'll see in that video that I had a bushcraft bed that had been written on in some kind of runic letters of some description. Where is that coming from? Oh, I'm not out of the burbs, I'm just at a local park here, so no surprise that there's cars. Anyway, and she said he responded with a grunt. And that's it for that. So she assumed that to mean no writing, that he was indicating no, we communicate through grunts and through sounds. Yep, so read into that what you will. She then, again, based on my request, asked them how many are in the area, if there's any more. To this, he didn't want to say anything. And she got the feeling, and feeling is a big thing in this, that he was protecting others. That he didn't want to say there's heaps of us for fear of exposure. So she got basically an indication that no, it's only him, but she strongly felt that he was protecting his personal interests within the area, possibly family. Maybe that's why he asked about my family. And of course, when she followed this up, because she got that feeling, does he have any family? She got an overwhelming feeling of sadness, which is very interesting. At the time, this was when the New South Wales bushfires were really taking hold. And I just wonder if those two events were linked, that he's either been separated from his family or they've perished in those bushfires that were happening. I'm linking two unrelated things, but this is the whole point of this video. It's a speculative video. All right, so there's no problem us thinking outside the box and just having a bit of fun with this. Now, when asked about hiding, he said that they don't want us to see them. Interesting words. They don't want us to see them because to them, we seem stupid. The quote that she got was, "Our eyes can't see." Our eyes can't see. What could that mean? Does it mean we literally can't see them? Like our eyes cannot see the frequency of light that they exist at? I mean, we only see a very small band of light with our eyes. There's a lot going on in this reality that we physically can't see. So that could mean that they have the ability to change frequencies of light that they're actually appearing at, which would mean not interdimensional. It would mean more interfrequency. And I've never heard anyone put that forward before. Interfrequency. Maybe they can change the light spectrum they appear on and therefore our eyes can't see. Or it could be a comment that the way we seem stupid to them, we can't see what we're doing to nature. We can't see the damage that we're causing. It could be that too, that we can't see the damage that we're causing. I don't know. These are just all things that I'm spitballing. Remember, speculative video. Now, they were communicating, and he actually went back and changed one of his earlier stances. He ended up letting her know that he is actually protecting others. Now, I'm going in the flow of the communication, not in a chronological making sense or not. I'm going in the way she told me everything. After further communication, he must have built up trust. Now remember, she does healing this way, so maybe there was a degree of healing happening, and that he was more stable, which she mentions later, and able to communicate. I don't know. But he said that he is protecting others, but when they're around us, they prefer to move solo as it's safer. So that indicates that there is an intelligence and an intention behind their movements. They're aware of our issues in regards to destruction and our sometimes destructive nature, and that they want to avoid that. There seems to be a lack of trust there, which is really interesting, which means that they're quite smart learners if all this is something to be taken seriously. Now, this is one of the big interesting things for me. She asked him what his purpose is, and he simply said to keep the dream time going. And then later, he said a caretaker. Now, if anyone knows anything about at least textbook Indigenous spirituality, and who knows how accurate the textbooks really are, the dreaming or the dream time is the Australian Indigenous belief system that basically states that there was a mind. It dreamt into being elements such as water, fire, air, and that from this became planets, became Earth. It was a featureless sphere. They wanted to make that dream real. In order to make that dream real, they sent animals, they sent ancestor beings or ancestor spirits to the land to essentially dream more life into it. And that is where our laws, customs, animals, plants, mountains, valleys, rivers, oceans, all that stuff all came to be. But when he says to keep the dream time going, I can only assume that would mean either look after nature or keep that creation of life going, which makes me think, and this is complete spitballing, that maybe, and this is down a rabbit hole inside the rabbit hole next to another rabbit hole, but I like this kind of thinking, it's fun. And this makes me thinking, could they possibly be derivatives or ancestor creator spirits from the dream time that are not at rest? I don't know. This is totally out there. I don't even know if that's making the cut. But these are the things that go through my head. But he said a caretaker. So they look after nature. I love that part. I really do love that part. And I feel like that is one of the things that I'm holding on to, and that I'm carrying with me going forward as far as what I believe these things are. That they are inextricably linked to something with Indigenous creation myth, and that they are looking after nature, defending it from us. I don't know. Remember, speculative. I'm going to say it another 10,000 times. Now, I also got her to ask if they are interdimensional in nature, and what she said, maybe, and that's possibly why we can't see them. But I think that was her words, not his. I think she was interpreting an energy from that. And she didn't seem to get much back on that. Now, that could possibly be because it was already answered in that our eyes can't see, and my theory on light frequency. It's just a thought. She also said that the Yowie knows where I am, and I must leave it up to him if he decides to make contact, whoever that would be. So it's nice to know that I'm out where I am, and that if this communication is an accurate one, that they are aware of my presence and they will make themselves known if and when they wish, just to leave it up to them. So that's interesting. There's that too. Now, based on his thing about caretaker and sadness and protecting the environment and all that, I told her to ask him if there's anything that I can do to help. And she said she was hit with a huge wave of sadness, and was basically told, what can we do to help? And that's really interesting. Does that mean they see humans as a lost cause? Does that mean they see humans as just lost, and how can I help is like, you just don't get it? I don't know what that means, but she was just hit with a huge wave of sadness, and the lines were, what can we do to help? A little bit of a feeling of helplessness there and resignation, which is not good. And that indicates what she later told me, that she felt like they have a deep connection to the earth and the suffering of it. So if we go into nature and we damage it, they seem to have a deep understanding and connection to that process, and you know, feel it as much as anything does. So it seems like these Yowies, I can't speak to Bigfoots or Sasquatches, I'm assuming it's all the same, but it seems that these Yowies are indeed deeply connected to nature, to Mother Earth and the earth itself, and have some very intimate relationship going on there that we probably can't possibly understand. Now, I asked her to keep telling him that I'm kind and safe, and you know, I want to connect, and I'm not a bad guy. And she said he met this with curiosity and said that he may have teachings for me. I am so down for teachings, man. Now, I don't know if they're going to be direct teachings. I don't even know what that means, but that's what I got told. So she also said this could happen in dreams or in unusual ways. We know of the concept of mind speak and infrasounds and that kind of thing. So she told me that I should basically keep a very open mind, be willing to the idea that they're mystical and spiritual. She didn't say interdimensional, she said mystical and physical. Sorry, not spiritual. And I should consider meditation, which I am, and just to stay open to these possibilities. So there's that. Now we're getting up to the last bits of it here. She said his final words as far as me and him was, leave it up to me. Leave it up to him. So he will decide when, where, how. Maybe that means he needs to observe a little bit more. I don't know. Maybe it means nothing. I don't know. But I have saved one piece of information for the end. Now I'll let you know Fifi's feelings after the communication that she had. But first I want to tell you, I think one of the biggest pieces to the puzzle that I don't think many of us are getting. I think the dream time... Thanks, bug. Go away. I think the dream time thing was big. I think that's a big piece of a puzzle that we're missing. And I think this is a potential huge piece of the puzzle. And I'm almost reluctant to say it because I kind of want to keep it to myself. But in the interest of research and not being greedy, I'm going to tell you guys, and you make what you will of it. And as I say, half of you might not even be watching this because you think it's all hocus pocus. She said they know how to use ley lines. Not they know what ley lines are, they know how to use ley lines to send and receive information. She said Brumbies do the same thing, and she said they feel it. I'm going to read this section out for you. Here's what she said. She said they know how to use ley lines, as do Brumbies apparently, and get info through ley lines. They feel it. They feel it. Now, I'm going to show you a map of ley line map. And I may do a bust out video on this down the track. But let's have a look at this ley line map of Australia. Let's look at these two areas here. Now, ley lines are the energetic lines that exist within the earth. They're there, we know they're there, we don't quite understand them, but they're the lines of energy that basically run through the earth. Some people take it far enough to say that they are part of the chakra system of the earth. Do your research on that if you don't know what I'm talking about. Where ley lines meet and intersect, there's special energy at those places. This is a big nutshell. You will find many important churches and sites such as that exist upon ley lines because they've been built upon very ancient sacred sites. Now, there's two areas here. The one on the left with all the lines meeting, that's the pillager. And if you're not familiar, the pillager is like Yowie Central. It's probably the hot spot, at least in the state. It's one of those places that I have to get to. People have stories upon stories of the pillager. That's an interesting coincidence. The other place a line passes through, bang, Wadigans National Park. Almost exactly where I camp. And I'm not making that up, I'm not exaggerating. I may have overlaid a Google map image here to try and help you understand that. I may not have. I'll see what I feel like doing. But it is almost exactly Wadigans, and where I camp is exactly where a big energy line goes through. That to me is very, very interesting. So could this explain tree breaks? Could they be pointing out ley lines, lines of energy? Could this explain all sorts of structures they're built where there's energetic centers? Could it explain tree knocking, where that's some form of energetic? Don't forget, sound is frequency and frequency is energy, and there's so much we can unpack about this ley line comment that, again, I'm reluctant to release the information without me having done full research on it. But I'm out here to put puzzle pieces together, and if someone else can use this information and get somewhere and get some serious success and unearth some truths here and help these things being Yowies, then I'm all for it, and I'm all for sharing. So take this information, guys, research, but just share your research with me and don't claim it's your information. All right, I have not heard a ley line connection with Yowies before, so as far as I'm aware, this dreaming thing and this ley line thing, these are two exclusive pieces of information, and that's huge. Now, I'm not going to go into too much detail except to say that I have had some confirmation on some of these points from people in positions of authority within this realm. I don't mean a human authority as in like, oh, they're an expert, they've written a book. I mean people on the spiritual side of things have told me things that have confirmed some of these pieces of information. I'm going to be intentionally vague, so I don't want to give anything away, but I just need you to know that as I'm further researching, I am finding confirmations of this information, not the other way around. I've yet to find anything said in this to come out as be, well, that can't be true then. If anything, the more I learn, the more every single thing Fifi told me is becoming more and more accurate. And that to me is a really good test for accuracy. It's really interesting stuff, guys. This ley line thing and this dreaming thing, I think we need to promote it. And let me tell you now, I will be. This is going to be one of the angles that my channel takes. I'm going to delve into the indigenous side of things a little bit. I'm going to try some indigenous techniques. I'm going to try using some know-how that I've picked up. I'm going to try looking into energy and ley lines and seeing if I can play with or experiment with that in any way I can. That's going to be hard with the ley line energy thing, but meditation is tapping into this energetic perspective, this spiritual perspective, this mystic perspective. There's a whole lot of things that I'm going to do on this angle. So this is also a big thing for this channel. This is going to be what I'm going to hang my hat on. I'm going to use bushcraft know-how, common sense, technology, and a very spiritual, energetic, almost ancient perspective to approach this research. And I really hope that it's the Goldilocks principle. It's just the right mix. It's just right. Not too much tech, not too much of anything, but a mixture of everything. And I think it'll bear fruit. It'll take time, but I think it will bear fruit. I could go on forever about this ley line thing and the indigenous thing, but I'm going to keep it short but sweet and just deliver the information and move on. I've had a million thoughts about this. I've had this info for over a month now, and I've thought a lot of things. Some of my theories I'm keeping to myself to test, but the information is out there now, and I hope you guys respect it and use it the right way. Now, I just want to finish off with Fifi's feelings and thoughts on this. Now, before I do that, I want to give a little bit of a plug to Fifi. Now, her website is animalhealing.net.au. Her name is Fifi MUNRO, MUNRO. Check her out. If you don't believe me or you want to suss her out and see what she's about to give you an idea of how reliable this information is, go check the woman out. Go visit her website. She's open to many things because her life has just confirmed that what we see on this earth is not all there is. She has a gift and she has no problem using that to help people in any way they see fit. Work, mouth, work. So by all means, contact Fifi and get her to do some work with you. And just remember, this world is not as black and white as we all think. There's gray areas, man, and everything is energy. Everything is energy. And with that in mind, nothing is so far-fetched. So hit her up, let her know you heard about her from me. I will put a bio of her and all her details, all her connection information in the description. So please make sure you check that out. Now, before we leave, I want to just tell you what her feeling was after this whole communication. And I'm going to read off the phone again so I get it right. So I asked her what she felt, and she said, very wise and gentle and aware. Leaning towards mystical. Maybe comes in and out of form, which is another reason we don't see them. She gave me advice. Listen to your body and the land and your heart, not your head. Switch off your head and just be present. Now that is a very different approach that a lot of us take. We like to head out there with our cameras and stomp around the tracks and poke and probe and do all these kind of things. But that is basically my approach. I will of course incorporate technology into it. But I mean, that's just good advice for life anyway. But wise, gentle, and aware. If you could have asked me 3 words that I would want Yowies to be, that would be them. Wise, gentle, aware. And I think we need to be aware of that description next time we feel like we're being harassed or similar by a Yowie. They could just be simply caretaking, protecting, making sure that their home, that their spiritual home is not being taken over and destroyed by humans that sometimes seem very indifferent to the natural world and sometimes can just be downright horrible. So that is the Yowie communication. As I said at the start of the video, and this may go into the intro, I don't want you guys to believe everything I'm saying. I don't want you guys to think I've lost the plot. I don't want you guys to think that this is some kind of miracle communication. What I want you guys to realize is the world has always been a little weirder than we've ever realized, and that sometimes we need to step out of our comfort zone and give other forms of information a chance. I've done that with this, and so far I can say it's coming across more valid than invalid. Think of this what you will. This is not my job to convince you. I'm very aware that this is very weird to a lot of you, that you're rolling your eyes and probably laughing at me, and I'm totally cool with that. Laugh away. I'm just, as I always say, much when I'm looking at stick structures and I say, believe what you want, I'm just presenting information. Believe what you want. I'm just presenting information. If you like this information, hit up Fifi with the details in the description. She'll be more than happy to hear from people. So I've got to wrap this up. I'm getting bitten alive by mosquitoes. My butt's sore because I'm sitting on a log, and I think I've rattled on enough. So if you've made it this far, thank you very much. It shows you have faith in out-of-the-box thinking, and that you're a great supporter of the channel. So thank you very much. I'll be heading out on more trips very, very soon. As a matter of fact, at the time of this recording, I'm heading out on a trip in 3 days' time. So there's more content coming. Thank you for supporting the channel. If you can share this information, let people know this channel's out there. The first week of subscriptions has been slower than I thought. I know it's a slow burn, but let's turn up the heat a little bit and let's get those subscribers coming in. Thank you for your support. Thank you for being open-minded and listening through to the end. Sorry if I come across as a little weird on this one, but that's the thing with this channel. Sometimes it's gonna get weird. That should be my catchphrase. Sometimes, welcome to Paranormal and Cryptid Adventures. Sometimes it's gonna get weird. I swear to God, I might make that the catchphrase. Anyway, thank you for watching. Until next time, I'll take you guys easy. I'll take it easy. I'll see you guys around. I don't know what I'm trying to say. See you guys. Thanks for watching.